News at 11.
Virginia Beach Mayor Myra Obendorf leads a night of incumbents in winning re-election.
And parimutuel horse racing could be coming to Hampton Roads. Good evening and thank you for joining us on this election night. I'm Mike Lewis.
And I'm Barbara Sierra. If it was supposed to be a night of out with the old and in with the new, reality didn't follow the script.
Many thought that incumbents would be out in the cold tonight. Instead, another term for some familiar faces. The big winner tonight, incumbent Mayor Myra Obendorf. She took 44% of the vote. Reba McClanahan came in second with 32%. The surprise tonight, Mark Bailey finishing with only 22% of the vote. He had spent the most money on the campaign. Bruce Moore is with the victorious Obendorf campaign tonight. Bruce, were they nervous at any point tonight?
Well, Mike, I think it's safe to assume there were some nervous moments, especially in the early weeks of the campaign with two vocal opponents coming at her. But what you see behind me are the remnants of a victory party. Mayor Myra Obendorf ran as the people's candidates, and by judging by the votes, I think it's safe to assume that the people embraced her.
You all have sent a message to all of those who wish to wage negative campaigns that it's not acceptable here in our city.
During the campaign, Myra Obendorf was constantly under attack for being all smiles as the hard times plagued Virginia Beach. But her feel-good message put her in the mayor's office for a second time, much to the chagrin of longtime councilwoman Reba McClanahan, who says the mayor will have trouble presiding over a divided council. McClanahan says Obendorf must be a better leader.
2 years, I have never heard from her, and a council member after council member can, testify to that same kind of thing. And that doesn't lend itself to leadership and to good decision-making, and that has to change.
McClanahan also chastised business leaders who backed newcomer Mark Bailey instead of her. Bailey had the biggest war chest, and he threw TV ads at his opponents like political harpoons, but they fell short. Bailey ran third.
While we did not gather enough votes for office, we managed to secure a victory of other sorts. The business community of our great city coalesced into a strong force, a voice that demands that Virginia Beach rise above the image of the sleepy little resort community.
Obendorf maintains the entire business community wasn't against her, just the developers and builders and such who don't appreciate her voice for slow growth. While her opponents still don't have a wealth of compliments to send her way, Obendorf extended the hand of friendship and says her door is open if anybody desires a voice. Back to you.
Bruce, the mayor winning the election tonight, but she has another battle yet ahead, doesn't she?
Well, she has many battles, Mike. The water problem is the first, getting the Lake Gaston pipeline through. Of course, battling the shrinking economy and the job growth out there. And also she's fighting a council that really isn't very friendly to her in some aspects. Quite often she's on the losing end of the vote. So we'll see how she can shore up her leadership there. Back to you.
All right, the mayor in Virginia Beach staying in office tonight. Thank you, Bruce. Barbara?
Oh, it was also a night to elect some new council members in Virginia Beach. The winners break down like this. John Baum defeated Delcino Miles in the Blackwater borough. Baum received 40% of the votes. In the Princess Anne borough, it was Robert Dean over Tom Abbott. In the Virginia Beach borough, Linwood Branch collected 45% of the votes and beat Robert Fentress. And in that at-large category, John Moss beat Harold Highshover in a tight race, 29 to 27%.
Portsmouth residents have put their stamp of approval on parimutuel betting today. Voters backed the issue tonight with 71% of the vote. City officials have been hoping for a horse track. They say it will give the city's economy the boost that it needs. Kentucky's Churchill Downs has also been waiting for tonight's vote. Track officials will be back in Portsmouth Friday to do more site scouting. Also in Portsmouth, it was a mayoral battle between incumbent Gloria Webb and longtime city councilman Tip Corprew today. In the end, Webb won with 58% of the vote. Corprew collected 42%. Portsmouth residents also elected 3 city council members tonight. They are Bernard Griffin Sr., James Hawks, and Cameron Pitts.
In Norfolk, it was also a night for incumbents to sing Happy Days Are Here Again. Ward 1 goes to incumbent Connolly Phillips. He ran unopposed. Ward 2 pits a woman who worked on the petition drive opposing Nauticus and the ballpark against an incumbent councilman. The incumbent wins it. Paul Fram got 75% of the vote. Donna Shoemaker trails with 25%. Ward 3 is in central Norfolk and also featured a race between a petition drive leader and an incumbent councilman. Again, the incumbent wins. John Foster gets 55% of the vote. Herbert Collins is second with 38%. James Short came in short, third at 7%. Ward 4 is in the eastern portion of Norfolk. It's a five-way race with no incumbent. The winner is Paul Riddick by about 300 votes over Don Hester. And there was also no incumbent running in Ward 5, that's Ocean View. The winner tonight, Randy Wright over William Wheely and Ken Lucas. Now the super wards, each covers half of the city. Ward 6 is predominantly white, as are the candidates. Incumbent Mason Andrews is returning to Norfolk City Hall with a big win tonight over Albert Horton. In the predominantly black Ward 7, 6 black candidates ran against one another. The winner, incumbent Reverend Joseph Green. His closest competition from Brenda Andrews. And Mike Gooding has been covering Norfolk for us. Mike, now that the much debated ward system is in place, do you think that it really made a difference or will make a difference at City Hall?
Well, absolutely. I think it will. For years, the council has had only 2 black representatives. Now there will be 3. And for the first time in many years, the east side of the city will also have a voice.
That's the only thing.
Longtime East Side activist Randy Wright danced away with one of the night's big prizes. He won the Ward 5 seat on Norfolk City Council.
Well, it means that they finally have a true representative on council, somebody that cares about this side of town, somebody that really gives a daggone.
The other new face on council, Norfolk NAACP President Paul Riddick, who captured Ward 4 and who now becomes the council's 3rd black member.
It'll be a big moment when we can get some production from it. You know, at this point, it's just a number, just another person on council. But if it proves to be something beneficial to the community, then I think it can be historical.
What do you think, will it?
I think so.
It was a good day at the polls for the 5 incumbents seeking election. Connolly Phillips, Paul Frame, John Foster, Mason Andrews, and Joe Green all won, which means that the man who initiated the ward suit a dozen years ago, leading to this first ward election in 75 years as ordered by the Justice Department, didn't win. But Herbert Collins remains upbeat.
So was it worth it? Yes. It means that people can really work in the system and stand a much better chance of getting elected. We came very close this time.
Now, you may recall that Norfolk's current mayor, Joe Leaf, is stepping down, so the new council will name his replacement when they take office July 1st. By the way, Norfolk is the only Southside city in Hampton Roads which does not allow for the citizens to directly elect their mayor.
Let's talk about the power base now that we have a few new faces, but still a strong old guard. How's it going to divvy up?
Well, it's going to be a big change. For years and years, it's been the West Side, led by Joe Leaf and Mason Andrews and Paul Frame. Mason Andrews and Paul Frame are still there, but now with 3 black members on the council, if they could side up with Randy Wright, the new representative from the East Side, it'd be a 4-3 split and a whole new ballgame. So,
interesting twist.
It'd be interesting to watch.
Thank you, Mike.
Well, out in Chesapeake, there will be at least 4 more years on council for Chesapeake Mayor Bill Ward. He defeated Republican challenger Bruce Kushner tonight by a wide margin. Incumbent Lionel Spruill won 1 of 3 council seats. The other victors are John Allen and Robert Nance. Jenna Roach followed the race tonight and has this report from Chesapeake.
The party started in Bill Ward's camp just an hour after the polls closed.
Hi, James. How you doing?
Ward, who was painted as a big tax supporter by his opponent, says his years of experience convinced voters to see things his way.
I think that my 14 years on council and my 2 years as mayor has demonstrated to the people of Chesapeake that Bill Ward is a bridge builder and that Bill Ward is a leader and one who is capable of leading the city for 4 more years.
Challenger Bruce Kushner says Ward steered his campaign away from the real issues by focusing on Kushner's delinquent tax paying. Kushner was late paying property taxes on his home and office a total of 25 times.
And because of my own personal past history, my opponent was able to take the main issue away from me and focus my tax problems as the major issue.
Kushner ran as part of an all-Republican open-door team. 2 of the 4 members won council seats.
Me and John are real happy with the thought of joining hands with the folks that are on there and get some positive things done for the city of Chesapeake.
We'd like to hold a line on taxes and hold the city management's feet to the fire.
The 3rd council seat will be maintained by Democrat incumbent Lionel Spruill. He'd like to see council work better as a team.
It's trying to get the council to work together as unity together. That on the council level it should be nonpartisan, even though I'm a diehard Democrat.
Janet Roach, 13 News, Chesapeake.
On the peninsula tonight in Hampton, the mayor and council candidates had to fight off a vocal anti-incumbent sentiment. With one exception, they won that battle. Mayor Jimmy Eason won with 45% of the vote, followed by Linda McNeely and Joe Drury. Eason has been Hampton's only directly elected mayor since the city approved the idea 10 years ago. Today he faced his toughest race ever, primarily because of a Dump the Chumps campaign. But the faces at the victory party of his most serious opposition showed early in the evening tonight that Eason would return for a 4th term in Hampton.
I asked the people to help me, and they responded so beautifully. This was not my victory, it was their victory.
Another Hampton Council veteran of 25 years, Charlie Warnham, will also be returning, but an 8-year incumbent, Brenda Wharton-Taylor, won't. 2 teachers, Ross Kearney and Ruth Ann Kellum, will fill the other 2 seats.
In neighboring Newport News, voters have re-elected 2 incumbents and brought in a newcomer. Mayor Barry Duval was the top vote getter, coming in with 61% of the votes. He was followed by Councilman Joe Frank, but William Fitzgerald was unseated by Charles Allen, a consultant and urban planner. Out of 4 blacks running for a council seat, he was the only winner tonight. And in Poquoson, Mayor Cornell Bocher will stay on for another term. He beat challenger Floyd Gibbs by more than 800 votes. In Williamsburg, it seems that there wasn't enough room on city council to re-elect both incumbents. Voters chose to bring back Tris McConnell and elect 2 newcomers, George Janakos and David Kleppinger. Incumbent Steve Harris was the loser tonight.
Checking the Suffolk Council race tonight, one incumbent stays, the other one goes. The one who goes is the former mayor, Johnny Mizell. Marianne Rogers will take his seat in City Hall from the Sleepy Hole borough. Curtis Miltier returns to represent Whaleyville, and in the Nazarene borough, Richard Harris got the most votes. And we now know who will be running for governor in North Carolina this fall. Democrat and 2-time Governor Jim Hunt and current Republican Lieutenant Governor Jim Gardner won today's party primaries. Well, coming up on 13 News tonight, hundreds turn out this evening in memory of a Kempsville High School student who died of cancer.
And ex-champ Mike Tyson is in trouble tonight for threatening a prison guard.